What's up, everybody? I'm late again. I'm trying to go for 7:30. My schedule is pretty tight. Got one thing after another going. Trying to make a lot of things happen, and feel like I'm going nowhere at the same time. So it sucks. What is the truth? Um, Hope everybody can hear me. Speaking of that, I just recognized I was going to use some new earphones with the mic. See if that helps. Give me 1 second. Really want to make sure everybody can hear. I think I know what people are talking about when I try to hear myself at work. Check out my audio. I can't hear anything because it's so loud at work, right? Give me 1 sec. All right, if anybody joins, let me know if this is better, if you can hear better. Try to get everything in position. Eventually, when I have my own place, everything will be set up and I don't have to set it up, right? I don't got to set it up. Let's see where I'm at. What I really want to check is the sound before I go any further. All right. Is anybody out there? I know there's a song that says that. All right. Let's see. Somebody let me know. One person watching. Still waiting for it to come up. Just let me know if it sounds the same or if it sounds better. Supposedly this little mic right here is supposed to help. I have to order a mic. I couldn't get any on hand physically. So I have to get one by mail. Well, it doesn't say anybody's there. So I'm just going to get into it. I'm going to talk today about hope and faith, what they mean. I'm sure they mean something different to everybody, but in the end, it all means the same. Even though it means something different, it all intertwines to be the same thing. And that's just something that we need and we thrive off of and we can't live without. And we don't think about it enough. We don't pay enough attention to that. Like a substance, right? And if without that substance, we die inside. We die inside because of the obstacles we got to face throughout millennia. I don't think it'll ever end. I really don't. It's just something that sometimes we get a nice day off and we got a nice Saturday or we get a nice barbecue. And some people, honestly, they live their whole life like that. But for the majority, it's a struggle, right? And so hope and faith is something that tethers us together and helps us pull through. And without it, we drown. And I'm using that as a metaphor, right? That we drown, but we drown in our sorrow, in our pain, in our sadness. And people might wonder why I talk about this kind of stuff, and it's just because I'm living it every day. And you see me throwing punches, and I should talk about other people. What I mean about talk about other people is people post all the good things, but I like looking at what's really going on and how to fix it from the root so that we can get to some kind of level of peace. Even though I have peace within myself, there's still physical, literal obstacles and motherfucking struggles that will break my mind. It can break my mind. Just yesterday, I was going through, I couldn't take it no more. we hit those levels where we just can't take this shit no more. I got some news that's uncomfortable. I've been working so hard to try to get back with my kids. I just brought my kids over about 2 months ago from Mexico over here to the U.S. Let them go stay with their dad because he finally got into rehab and he got better and now he's working at the rehab and so he's doing well, right? So I thought it'd be great for them to get together to bond, right? Because of all the years that the dad just took off and created abandonment issues in our kids, right? And now this guy wants to pretty much take over and as if he's never left and take my kids. And when I say my kids, it's because I've done the hard work. When he was there, he did until he dropped off. and now he just can't come back and act like nothing happened, which that's what he's doing. So now I have to hurry up and get over there, stop what I'm doing, and get over there. And I can't get there fast enough. And that's what pisses me off, that I can't do what I want to do. And I feel like a lion in a cage, um, under obstacles that there's nothing I can fucking do about them until things line up. Till things line up, I got to find another job. I got to get it hired. Got to find a place to live. And then I can go out there. And just knowing that time is of the essence, and I got to go get my kids before this man tries to put child support on me after all of the pain and suffering. I say pain and suffering because it's pain and suffering, making sure that I'm working, and their their school gets paid for, and he don't want to pay. He don't want to pay. He's just like, it's just put him in public school, and that fires me up because I do everything to keep my kids out of public school so I can help them get the best education they can. Even if I got to go to work, even if I got to go sleep on the street and keep working to make sure that gets paid. And now this guy is, you keep paying because I'm not going to help you. And that's just his bottom line. And when I say help you, meaning help to pay for their private school lessons, right? So the reason I'm bringing this up is because yesterday I just wanted to throw myself against a fucking wall, but I can't because then it'll only set myself back even further. But that's literally how I feel, right? Uh, versus my foot, it's like one obstacle after another obstacle after another obstacle. I'm trying to get into this bare knuckle fighting. For those of you who've been following me, and getting into that bare knuckles where I can make enough money to make things happen and prove a point that we are being aged and we can counter this and we can change it and we can get stronger, better, faster, younger, and I could show how to do it. And I've been living it. I've been living this experience. And I won't go much more into that. But trying to get there has been a long fucking road. And it's just like one gosh dang thing after another, one after another. And that's where I'm talking about this hope and this faith and this little thread that keeps us afloat. I was screaming inside of me, screaming like every cell in my body, just screaming because I can't fucking do nothing about my circumstance, my situation. I have to go back to work. I have to keep doing what I'm doing until something gives, and then I can make that next step, right? Um, I watched a movie, little short documentary called Fight Story by John Messina, right? It's like $3 on Amazon, and I watched that thing, and what I recognize is that common thread. Everybody got a different scenario, a different situation of an obstacle or obstacles they got to overcome, and they all follow this pattern that Sylvester Stallone left in the movies, in the Rocky movies, right? And that pattern was, you don't stop fucking trying. You get up even if you're down, even if it looks like you're gonna fail. You keep going. Um, you might be down, but you're not out. It's all those scenarios that Rocky put into those, or Sylvester Stallone put into that character, into the Rocky movies, right? And so this gentleman, John Messina, in his Fight Story movie, or his documentary, was what a movie did to inspire people to push through their obstacles. And it's that one thread of hope that lined them all up together to the image, but the mind can see and grab onto and hold and push forward. Because if we can't see it, we can't lunge for it and pull, because it pulls us. Like if it were to pull us out of water, out of a drowning situation. And it calmed me down. It really did when I watched that movie. It's all about timing, right? I knew about his documentary before, but I didn't watch it. But I couldn't take it no more yesterday, and I said, let me see if it helps me in any way, and it did. It did. It's keeping that hope and keeping that faith that even though we can't see it, we have to know it's there. And that's the faith, right? And the hope is that thread, that invisible thread that hooks us to that faith, that without it we drown. And so keeping hope and faith, change a human being, change their actions and their behaviors. And that's how powerful hope and faith is, right? That's how powerful it is. Change our actions and our behaviors for the right thing, for the right reasons, and just to not to fail ourselves and to fail those around us. I thought I'd share that. It was important. And I want to keep this one short, but I think it's important to talk about. It's our belief in God, something we can't see, right? Like, I didn't believe in God as a person, as an individual. That didn't make no sense to me. But I believed in this man named Yeshua, who his physicality, his actions, his words, they lined up and they resonated with me. And out of all the shit I lived growing up, that was the only one thing I can guarantee, that there was something hopeful, something good right there, right? Something I can follow, a lead I could follow since I was a kid. Right? But the whole Bible thing, it didn't make sense because it was contradicting. I knew about contradiction without knowing about contradiction when I was a kid, if that makes sense, right? Like, I knew there was something wrong because I didn't identify with it. It was off balance. Those are videos that I want to make in the future on how Yeshua's enemies put that book together and how I can prove it. And once it's seen, there's no going back from it. There's no going back from it unless you just close your eyes and turn the other way and act like you don't know me. Act like we never had the conversation. Act like you didn't see what you saw. And that's what I've discovered in these past 2 years. And it doesn't mean Yeshua don't exist. It means Yeshua's enemies um, are putting the blindfold on people, are playing the people, and like I said, that's a video for another day. But the hope and the faith and the belief in something that we can't see. My children didn't believe in God, but they knew about Yeshua, and that was good enough for me, right? Because I can't make my kids believe in something I can't sense and I identify with, right? Well, I can identify with Yeshua, to learn his ways, I taught them his ways, and it made sense, right? So my kids followed that. Little Cricket, hey, what's up, Little Cricket? I'm here. You hear me well? Let me know. Do you hear me better now, or is it the same as the other videos? Just give me let me know, please, on your side. Yeah, glad to see you too, Little Cricket. You're always there. Um, so the belief in God, right? In these past 2 years, I recognize there is a God. It is a dude, but there's also other people involved, and they work like a team, like a network. And we just misled to, or been misled to believe it's just one male individual, right? It's one male individual. It's more like a mother, father, and a team and a group working to help mankind. The Holy Spirit is something very separate, but yet is everything. It's them and it's us and it's everything. It's everywhere and nowhere, right? And those that lack Holy Spirit are degrees of negativity all the way to the point of evil. And so the more Holy Spirit, the more charge we have inside, the more we can project that outwardly. And it makes things grow all around us. So the Holy Spirit is the infinite almighty force of love within. It's within all things. And it makes things grow. And we're better for it. And we're better because of it. And when we lose it, we become dark. But yet, and when I say dark, I mean evil, right? Different degrees of evil, and it just escalates into more and more darkness, right? And it can't survive without the Holy Spirit. So it takes from others to obtain it because it can't generate it itself as we do, as mankind does. So it is better. Chi-Chi. Is that somebody's name, Chi-Chi? I'm hearing you very well. Great. So it sounds like this thing works. I'm glad. Um, that's so funny because I was thinking about Chi-Chi's today, thinking that about my Chi-Chis. That your name's Chi-Chi. I was thinking about if I were fighting with big boobs, those things would get in my way. It'd be like, that pork. It ended up pushing it underneath my armpit. So that's so funny. And your name's Chi-Chi. That's great. Great coincidence. What was it? All right, talking about God, the belief in God, right? But then little by little, as I was going through this 2 year experience, I identified that there is this team, right? So And then Yeshua, a lot of people look at Yeshua as God on earth. That's absolutely fine. General, Lord, King, my respect 100%. That's what I follow, right? He's representative of this force that works with the Holy Spirit, that works with mankind, that comes to show the way. One of the last way showers is Yeshua. If not, he was the last way shower. uh, in a line of way showers from the past. And without the way, we would have nothing to tether to hold on to pull ourselves out of, because we're in fucking darkness. If there ain't nobody paying attention, ain't nobody noticed. What do I want to say? I'm gonna tell you. Well, I can't tell you about how I recognize God exists. That would take at least 2 hours, because it's a series of experiences that led me to understand, right? And I want to keep it short today because it's Saturday, and I know you guys got things to do, and I'm already half an hour late from that 7 o'clock. I'm trying to get on at 7, finish at 8. It didn't happen today. But I'm going to tell you what happened to my children to make them believe in God without having to go through all the pain and the obstacles, right? So a lot of us become with an understanding of God because we go through a lot of pain, right? And a lot of obstacles, and we see the light, and then we grab a hold of that light and we never let it go. And we find it in Yeshua, right? A lot of us find it in Yeshua. A lot of us, not everybody, a lot of us. I'm only speaking about what I know about it. I can't speak about other people's religion because it would be false of me to do that, right? It would be false of me. So I can only speak about what I understand and what I know. It's no disrespect to anyone else in their religions. The fact that our children can learn to understand and follow that there is a force, an almighty force, right? Which is the Holy Spirit, and to understand that we have help from outside of this reality to help us where we're at, because we're against all odds. We really are. And we need all the help we can get. And if there's a team out there that's looking and helping us, we have to know how to notice the sign symbols, the synchronicities, the coincidences, to be able to navigate and get through. And that's just a fact. And that's what led me to understand that there's a real team out there helping us outside of us, right? Outside of what the reality scope that we know of, right? Um, and because if we could see it, it'd scare the shit out of us, right? We wouldn't be able to tell the good guys from the bad guys because we would just be scared shitless. So it has to come in smoothly, like smooth. Take it easy, Take it easy. Um, a little bit at a time is what I'm saying. A little bit at a time. And what I notice about my kids is, because I never pushed God on them, but I did instill the principles of living Yeshua's path. They have two stories of their own that made them recognize, hey, there's something out there helping us. There's something happening, and my kids can now say they believe in God and they're gonna be okay because they're one with God, right? And it's almost like a support team. And remember, I never pushed this on my kids, but my kids had their own experiences through me, watching me, and then them going on their path, and then making the correlation. They recognize, oops, I got to do something real quick. My battery's about to go out. But they recognize that there's something, and they did that on their own. And that's how children should learn. Nothing should be forced on children, and that's what we do. We force religion, our ideas, our hates, onto our children, and they're forced to take what we deem, or I should say, what we learn from our parents, because it just keeps going. It's a cycle. It's like a domino effect, right? I didn't want to do that to my kids because I can't lie to my kids. I can't tell them something is if I don't know. That's just the way I've always been, because my mom taught me that. And so I taught that to my kids, and I can say now, because of the experiences I went through, my kids now believe in God. And it feels really good because they learn on their own through experience without having to go through suffering and pain. Because a lot of us were led to believe because this is the experience we have, is that we learn to appreciate God through suffering and pain. Well, I'm grateful that I've been able to break those generational curses, and my kids were able to live a good, a better life. Put it that way, a better life, right? Than myself, my other kids. Meaning, I have a 31-year-old, right? And I raised my sister, and they didn't get it easy. And then I didn't get it easy, and then my mom didn't get it easy, and then my grandma didn't get. Nobody gets it easy, right? But we try to fix the generations as we go forward, because we have to. We have to break that. We have to break that consistency of the pain and the suffering, and we have to be the one to bear the load to break them fucking chains. Well, that's how I see it, anyways, right? That's how I see it. And so the story of my son and how he believed in God. So my son on his own, he's 17. His name's Vaughn. And before he turned 17, he was 16 years old. And I was outside sleeping outside of Planet Fitness, right? In Tennessee. I just got kicked out of a place I was renting out there because I was trying to get back with my old coach that was in Tennessee so that I could do this. We could train for this bare knuckle fighting, right? Well, this lady's crazy. She kicks me out and the other person that was renting another room, and I'm out on the street again. But I can't tell my coach because my coach won't. Already told me I can't stay with him, right? So I'm sleeping outside, and I'm talking to my children. My daughter Isis, she was 12 then, and we're talking, and 12 o'clock hits, and it's my son's birthday, right? He turned 17, and mom's sleeping outside, and I know that giving anguish to my children, but they're not expressing it. And my son, many months later, he tells me this story from that experience, right? And the story is, or the experience he had was, he went to bed that night on his birthday after talking to his mom that's sleeping outside. Remember, I'm working in Tennessee. I'm not just sleeping outside. I'm working, and I'm paying the private school every week. Every week, dad's nowhere to be found because he's just doing his own deal and only being selfish and taking care of himself. Even though he was in rehab, right? Uh, Still no calls or nothing. It's because of his shame and guilt he couldn't call, right? Shame and guilt, so he couldn't call or help. Uh, but I understand that, and that's why I never put him through child support, because I know that he couldn't pay because of his condition, and that would only put him in jail, and he can't handle fucking rape, you know? And I'm not saying everybody can handle rape, but that motherfucker, he definitely can't fucking handle it. Going through that kind of shit, going in prison. So I know prison would just fucking annihilate that man. So I didn't put him through child support, and now he's on the possible verge of doing that shit to me. Ain't that a fucking kicker right there? Um, I got off track right there in the story. I got off track. Let me get back. Let me get back. My son tells me many months later that he went to bed that night and he prayed to God. He said, "Let me see if this is real," because he didn't believe in God. Remember, my son's a YouTuber type kid generation where they have an answer for everything. Everything got an answer. Um, if it's not there, it's not real type of attitude. But he was in so much distress that his mom was sleeping outside again, that he said, "Let me pray for my mom and see if this is real." And I didn't know that. I didn't know he felt that way until he expressed this to me many months later, right? And that next day in the morning, I got a phone call from a church who got a phone call from somebody else letting them know that I needed some help. And they paid for a motel room, motel room, and gave me 3 warm nights indoors. And I made videos. You can see them on my YouTube. Me asking for if I had any subscriber friends in Tennessee, if I knew anybody that could help me out, right? Because I couldn't get enough done to help myself after those 3 days. So I made some videos about support, right? Asking for some support. And when my son recognized that a church went and took care of me like that, right after he prayed, he recognized something. It sparked in something inside of him, And he says that he realized that something may be going on. And then he said he did it again and again and again. And every time he saw me get help from my videos, he was making prayers, right? And so he's, oh, this works and this is real. And now my son goes to Bible class every Monday, and he's in a little study group. He hasn't told me this yet. My daughter told me this. But he's looking and he's reading and he's discovering, and that's what it takes. It doesn't mean we go in there with blind faith. It means we go in there and we look and we start asking questions so that our soul can grow. All right, so our soul can grow. And so that began that. And so now when my son speaks, he says, I'm okay, Mom, because I'm with God. That's beautiful. That's strong and that's powerful. Yet my son didn't have to suffer to learn, but he saw his mom suffering, and that inspired him to try to see if asking for help is real. And it's real. I'm telling you, it's real. They're out there, and they let you go through pain. Don't get me wrong. You know, Yeshua was put on the cross. Joan of Arc was burned at the stake. Remember, both of them spoke to Michael. Now we ask why and how. And that's been my biggest turmoil within me. Is how do I know I'm suffering, and yet is it being allowed to happen? We're in a bigger picture of a story than just our one little story, but our one little story connects to so many other stories to make for this big story that's event-like. And so when we look at our past, it's so that we have that thread to know how to guide and navigate now in this present moment, because we're at the end of a new beginning, because this can't sustain itself the way it's been going until a big change is to occur, because it has no choice. There's no choice. It's like running an operation and knowing that thing's going to crack, knowing it's just a matter of time. So now how are we going to live through this experience? And this is what I've been shown, how to understand what we're going through. And you know, it's not something I can put in a 30-minute one or a 1 hour video, but it's going to be a series of videos to try to break down what I've experienced and see how they can help others. You know, that's all I got. That's all I got. I don't have no more. There's a little cricket. We are creators, not one doubt. I see, but it is hard to step off once you jump it. It's on. Yeah, that's for sure. That's for damn sure. It's on. It's on. Sometimes I ask to turn this shit off. I do, because it's fucking hard. It is. It's a hard place to be when you know you got to go through all this shit, knowing that there's an outcome to come out of it. That pressure is going to take us into directions that we wouldn't normally go. Like right now, I'm being pressured to do shit I wasn't going to do, but now I got to do. And this pressure, I got to, and then I'm talking about the pressure of me being put through child support for my kid's dad, or trying to take some type of control over my kids. I have to now make a huge change, radical change, that was going to be different. You know, it's going to go in a different direction. I was going to bring my kids over here, and then we were talking about me possibly going over there, but with a steady pace, with an organized pace. And now I got to get there sooner than later. I got to get there sooner than later. But that pressure that feels really fucking bad is actually going to create an outcome that I won't know the answer until it's already happened. And we know that when we look back in retrospect, we're like, that's why that had to happen. And so because we have that foresight, we got to be calmer on the way as we go, recognizing that we're being put into conditions to become aware, even though they're hard, even though they're hard. My daughter, just a couple of days ago. I'm trying to remember what day it happened. It happened on the 22nd. Today's the 24th, right? My daughter was like borderline. Well, okay, people say there's God, but I'm not too sure how it works. Or, you know, she hasn't had her own personal experience, right? She's only 13, right? And I'm not gonna force that. I'm gonna force that. I know it's something that it's an experience, right? It's an experience. It's something internal, something very personal that people have. I can teach my daughter about Yeshua and the way that Yeshua came to teach, and those are good guidelines. But to have a personal experience, to know that there's God and a team, you know, the Mother Father. Some people call the Holy Spirit the Mother Father, right? It's interchangeable, but there is a male and female commanders and chiefs help and guide us. And my daughter knows this because I've told her, and my son knows this because I told them. And I don't know if they believe it the way I understand it from my personal experience, but they get that there's some help. We got an outside force helping us meaning mankind. That's what I mean by us, mankind. And so I'm at the store, right? I'm at HEB, and I'm just buying two things of flour tortillas and a plastic container. But I'm buying the tortillas for somebody else, so I'm just trying to run it first, right? Just three little items. There should be no big deal at the checkout. I'm in the self checkout, and it won't take the card, and it won't take the card. And the guy that comes and helps, fix the situation, he can't fix it. And he came back three different times, right? Because I'm just trying to purchase these tortillas. And tortillas, it's my grain free tortillas made of cassava. You can find them on Snafu Free on Instagram. But my point is you're like, I thought you didn't eat tortillas. Those tortillas I do eat. So, anyways, I'm trying to scan, it's not working. I'm talking to my daughter, right? And she happens to be talking to me about everything she's learning about religion in school, right? And Islam and Judaism and Christianity, the Abrahamic religions. And so we're already chit-chatting for an hour, and I'm like, man, I gotta buy these tortillas. And so she's watching me try to get this scanned, and it's not working. So she's watching the whole process, right? And then the guy comes for the fourth time, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't understand why this is so complicated. He pushes in his number because he has to call the big boss, the big manager, right? And when he puts in his number, it's the same numbers as the last of my phone number, which is 555. And those of you who know 555, 222, 111, those are sequential numbers and patterns to follow to know that there's something here that needs attention. The coincidence is the attention that must be here. So look out and become aware. When I say look out, I don't mean in a bad way. It means be attentive. There's something important happening right here, right now. And when I got my phone number and I got those last 555 on my phone number, to me made absolute sense, right? Because I'm aligning and the tuning with change, major change, and that's what 555 means, big major change. The more fives, the bigger the change. The more fives, the bigger the change. And so when he puts in those numbers, and I show my daughter and tell my daughter, and she goes, "Oh my gosh, mom, okay, what's going on?" And then the manager comes, and guess what is the manager's name is Yeshua, right? And we know that Joshua is Yeshua. That's the real name. That if people say that Jesus is Yeshua and they just change his name, it would be Joshua. If we want to talk about changing his name from one language to the other, Yeshua is Joshua. And so this man's name on his tag is Yeshua, right? And I tell my daughter, and I'm just like, oh my God, the manager's name is Yeshua. It's Joshua. Between me and my daughter, we're watching the whole process happen right in front of our eyes. And my daughter goes, Mom, does this happen to you like every day? And I'm just like, yeah, it really does. And if you walk with me or somebody's with me, they'll see it too. It's just incredible, incredible. And there's people that have been around me that can say they've experienced it with me. It's intense. And it's to let us know that we ain't fucking alone. We're not alone. And this is coming from somebody who didn't believe. I'm telling you, because I can't believe in something I don't fucking identify with. And now I identify because it's loud and clear. It's loud and clear. And now I want to get that information out to you guys. You know what I'm noticing? That, let me see. I want to see if, oh no, it's the same. I was thinking that the information was different on between my computer and my phone. And so that's how my children, up until just recently, like my daughter, right, recognize that, okay, something is going on and it's nice. It's nice. And when I say it's nice, it's comforting to know that we ain't alone in this hellhole. And there are people who say, well, it's not a hellhole. It depends on your perception of reality. Well, even if I was rich and had everything at my fingertips, I still see the world is in fucking trouble. Now I can close my eyes to that and pretend like everything's okay because it's okay for me, but it don't change the fact for 98% of the people. Are you feeling me? And so the reason I'm saying this is the world can be a paradise, but it can't be ran the way it's being run. And it's because we're running off of operations on a mislead, on a root that's rotten. And I'm here to bring all that root up, throw that motherfucker on the table, and call it out. And start washing it away so that we can start taking all the information that's been kept from mankind and start making all the pieces having to have some type of coherence. If it's not coherent and it doesn't line up, there's a lie. There's a lie. And if there's a lie, there's a deceit. And if there's something deceitful, there's something fucking working against the well-being of those around. And if it ain't good for one and all, then that shit ain't good. And we got to toss that shit out and figure out how we're going to make this work. And that's what we got. And I'm eventually going to get on that fight stage. I'm eventually going to make this money. I'm eventually going to have my brand up to strengthen and empower the body, the people. It's not going to come when I want it to, obviously, right? That's what I recognized. And I just got to be patient, watch, become aware, and know when to step and when to take a fucking knee. When to take a knee and when to get back up. And what am I learning through the experience? So going back again, that fight story that I watched on Amazon, I can't remember the guy's name. You can find him on TikTok. His name's John Messina, who made that documentary. It was a gentle way of putting the pieces together for me to remind me to be calm, to remind me that I'm not outside, to remind me my kids are safe and well and they got good heart and a good head on their shoulder, that no matter what, they're going to still be okay. They'll be able to navigate through whatever obstacles they have. And even though I'm far away, it's only a matter of time before I become close. But what they have close is in their heart. And that's what their mom has taught them, right? Their mom being me. Being me. What part did you love, Cricket? What part? But that's it, Hope, faith, it's that tethering one another to help us out, even if it's just for a day, even if it's just to get through the week, the day, the hour, the moment. It's what we're doing for one another, and that's how we're gonna do this. That's how we're all doing it. And so everything we do matters. Everything we say, everything we touch, people we communicate. We don't know who we're affecting in a positive way. We might just look at it as a smile, but for them, nobody smiled in a week, No one smiled at them for a week. And that just might change somebody in a positive way. It's important. It's important. So that's why I'm making these videos every Saturday, trying to get at 7 to 8 o'clock, right? I don't want to take up any more of you guys' time. If anybody has anything to say, I'm going to wrap it up. It is because it's already going to be 8:30. Trying to keep it an hour. Trying to only keep it at an hour. My email is truthandintegritywarrior@gmail.com. If you guys want to talk about anything, shoot me out an email, and we can talk. I think on the next live, we can talk about it on the next live, right? And on here, I think there's a way where I can actually bring somebody in. Uh, if somebody wants to do that, if somebody wants to go back and forth, have a little chit chat, little video discussion, and we can talk about a subject. We can do that. I want to tell everybody to keep hope alive within the heart. Keep hope alive within the heart, because that's where it stems from. Our hearts are broken only so that our soul can come out. That's what's going on. Our hearts are being broken so that the true nature of our soul can come out. And it's very painful for a lot of our generations. But it's key that we teach our generations to come. They don't have to go through the pain, but they can have an understanding from our experience, from our stories, from what we go through, so they don't have to live that pain. But they can understand that lesson, and they can grow and flourish and teach their children. So that's the path, your connection. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, little cricket. I appreciate that. It don't make it an easy path, though, little cricket. I'm going to tell you, because I knew they were, when I was sleeping outside and freezing with ice on my body in Tennessee, like literally I couldn't sleep because the ice on my body, the cold was, it was so cold that I couldn't sleep. And I was working 10-hour shifts, picking up cases of beer and beverages, like a man's job, a big old physical man's job, right? I was the only chick in that place, but I had sleep deprivation, and it was just, it was taxing. And the pain of people sleeping outside in this cold is unbelievable, unbearable, in some cases unsurvivable. Because 2 days later, a couple of days later, that if a stranger didn't help me, because I asked my coach after that, uh, having to go back and sleep outside, because remember, I only had 3 days in that motel, and then I had to go back and sleep outside, right? If it wasn't for a stranger letting me in his house, I would have died sleeping outside, because it was so cold. They had a huge below 0 degrees out in Tennessee, snowstorm, and a stranger helped me. I want to say his name, right, but I can't. He told me not yet. He told me not yet. But this man helped me and didn't know me. But very wary, trust me, very wary, because he had a lot of things that could be stolen. But I didn't steal nothing from him. And we created a bond of trust. He trusts me, I trust him. And now I lost the coach, who was like a snake in the fucking grass, right? Like a snake in the grass. And I needed to see that. But I needed to be put in such extreme condition to recognize who that man was, my ex-coach, right? And it was disgusting. But it was best to be squashed right there, because as I rise up, I can't have snakes in the grass with me. And only something like that, circumstance like that, saying no, you can't come stay, not for a day, and let me sleep outside in that ice cold, and a stranger let me in. The stranger is now my friend, and because he's earned. When I say earned, I mean earned, and I've earned his trust. There's an earning there between the two. Like, he didn't have to help me, but he did when I had nothing. And some people only help people when they got something, right? No, I had nothing. I have family members just call me pathetic, right? Pathetic because of my condition, my situation. But we don't know why we're put in those conditions and situations. To learn to see, to feel, because it changed me. Because as I become wealthy, I'm going to use my money very differently than how I would have used it. Because I felt the fucking pain. There's a level of pain out there that we know nothing about unless you live it. And I'm going to make some big fucking changes because of it. Oh, okay, your connection. Oh, thanks. You're helping me. little cricket. That shattering is beyond through. It hurts. The shattering is beyond tough. It hurts. Yeah, it does, little cricket. It really does. I can't say from this whole experience, I think what's been crushing me the most, even though I got to go through the physical, gone through some physical fucking pain, it's the fucking loneliness. God dang. Could be in a sea full of people, yet we're lonely. It's some real shit because we're not making connections. We're not connecting. We're not communicating. And mankind thrives. Our heart is literally projecting out a pulse and it receives it from another heart, and the other heart projects back. We ain't doing that shit. We're in an isolation, even though we got all these bodies around us, but there's no fucking connection happening. And that's what needs to change. We're lacking this connection, and this heartfelt connection is what reinforces this field. And this field that protects us from evil, wicked things, they're coming in. You get to live on other planes of reality, right? And they can't come into a strong, secure field that's heart generated, that's Holy Spirit full, because it projects out of us, right? But it's not being projected out of us because we're in this fucking isolation within ourselves with this pain on multiple fucking levels of pain, is what I'm saying, that's not getting healed. And so what's projecting out is lacking in our field. And our field is weakening and make it easy for these other levels of soul sucking life force fucking beings. That's all I can rally that up into, to take from the innocence of our children, to take from the soul of man, and to take from our power, our creative power, our love, our care. It's really going to take the warriors to rise up and project this, because everybody else is either asleep to this or in a hypnosis. And they can't do anything for themselves, so there's no reason to be upset about that. And those who are snapping out of it, I guess you'd say, right? I don't like to use the awake and the asleep, but who've snapped out of it, it's going to take lining us up and organizing us everywhere, independently, wherever we are. Because you don't want to be like fish in a bucket. You don't want to gather everybody in one location. That's just not a smart thing to do. We've already seen that it's not a smart thing to do. It's about directing us, navigating through this, building us up from the inside out, and projecting outwardly. And it doesn't mean we don't lose our shit. Like I said, I just lost my shit yesterday. I had to watch that video to help me out, that documentary, and it did. And we just got to ride steady like that. We fall off, we get back on. We fall off the horse, we get back on. Because one thing warriors do, they fucking fight when they don't like something. It's a natural reaction, and it's okay. It's okay. It's how we are. It's how we're structured. A lot of people teach you just supposed to be at calm at all times. That shit is not realistic. Not in this world, right? And so when we push out force and energy, if we're not doing with hate, it doesn't break down the field. It's that hate, it's that sorrow, it's that shame, it's that regret that breaks the field. And that's what we got to heal within ourselves, so that we can project gratitude, thankfulness. I put this right here about this. And every day after my prayer, I touch this. Actually, right before my prayer, I touch this, and I remember, and I touch it, and I say, so very thankful, right? So very thankful. Because I got to remember to be so very thankful. I'm indoors. I got to be so very thankful. My kids have strength, they have mind, they have body. And if I ain't got nothing else, I'm okay. I'm okay. And I'm so very thankful. Here's a little tidbit I want to say before I go. I know I keep saying I'm going to go, but one little tidbit is really important. It's hard to find gratitude and be grateful when we're under a lot of pressure and a lot of pain. Very hard, right? We see other people succeeding, and we're just like, yeah, well, that shit don't happen to me. That shit don't happen to me. And so it creates an animosity, anger, but that's an anger we got inside that hostility, of always trying and never fucking succeeding. Because I'll tell you, I'm failure number one. It's like constant. Either I'm failing or I'm being pushed back or I'm being limited. Right? It's constant. I'm so used to failing that I almost don't feel no more. Right? I don't even feel no more. Just like brush it off and get up and boom, do it again. What I learned is how do I feel the feeling of gratitude, because it has to come from the heart. You have to really feel gratitude. You can't just say, "Oh, I'm grateful," and inside you're a fucking rotten apple. I got a cousin like that, a rotten fucking apple, but saying all the perfect, pretty words on the outside and rotting on the inside, right? It's the to change our direction in life towards what we want and to change the field around us into a strong, reinforced field of protection, because the Almighty force is love, and we build that when we project that gratitude. It's part of encompasses love, right? Is I had to learn that, all right, I ain't feeling grateful for shit right now. I'm just giving you a scenario, right? Not me right now, but me when I hit these moments, right? Because I'm just mad as fuck. And I'm just like, I ain't feeling grateful about shit, but I know I need to turn this shit around because this is not helping me. It's not fucking helping me. So what do? I get a meal, right? Now I'm grateful for that meal. And then I start, we're going to say a taco, right? Or a burrito. We're going to say something simple that everybody's familiar with. We're going to say a taco. And as I eat that taco, I feel so much gratitude for the flavor, for the taste, for being able to eat that hot meal. I remember going a long time with just eating everything cold and out of a can or out of a bag because there was nowhere to cook, right? And so just feeling real fucking genuine gratitude. Like if it's for you, it's a donut, then feel fucking deep gratitude for that donut. And I'm not playing. I'm serious about it. It might sound fucking silly, but it's real. And in that feeling, you genuinely feel gratitude for that donut or that taco. But you're conscious that you're feeling it, so you'll project it. Well, we're not conscious. We're just like, oh yeah, great donut. Mm. No, feel some shit. And it projects and it helps to build and reinforce the heart, reinforce the field, and it helps us remember what to be grateful for. Even if it's that donut or that taco, it's the feeling we got to get back that we're disconnecting from. And little by little, we'll start working on the real issue that's deeper, that has nothing to do with the taco, or nothing to do with the donut, right? But we ain't ready to deal with it. And so because we're not ready to deal with it, but we want to get out of that fucking feeling, that's the way I've been able to help myself is I'd even look at a flower and just be grateful for the beauty in that flower. It might sound silly, but I couldn't deal with my circumstances because my circumstances were fucking real. They were in my face, and it's a real fucking scenario that can't be ignored like it ain't fucking happening because it is, right? But because I can't do nothing about the motherfucking circumstance at the moment, I must feel gratitude to pull me out of this fucking hole. And that's how we do it. And it works. It fucking works. So hope that helped. Hope that helped. Now I'm gonna sign off. It's like keep hope alive, keep your faith alive. If your faith falls, pick it up. Just fucking pick it up. Start again. We're allowed to do that because we're trying. Because we're trying, and that's what matters. This is Michelle Angelic, Truth and Integrity Warrior, saying peace out and be well. Bye bye.